hosts. And we're
Oh,
live. Hey
we're
guys,
live.
welcome
Oh,
to episode 40.
40.
40. We are climbing up there. We got a
We are
Very.
to the top.
we have a interesting positive I'm positive it's going to have some negative things to say in this about our game New
Oh,
World coming out from Amazon. So our boy Bezos has got some troubles.
This is. We got things to say to you, Mr. Bezos. Back
Yeah,
to Earth and
get back to Earth.
make your game work.
they're all celebrating that this is their first success since Crucible was a disaster, but I don't know if it's exactly a success in my mind. We got some big news from Sony purchasing some more game studios, starting to follow Microsoft footsteps and pick up a bunch. And then a little bit on Xbox and their shortage of consoles. So, yeah. But first, before we do any of that, let's catch up on what we've all been up to gaming wise. So, which one of you boys wants to go first?
Alex, you want me to take the lead on this one this time?
It's all you. You want to talk about one of your favorites?
Actually, yes. So, very interestingly, lately I've been playing the new flight demo for Halo Infinite, which is actually just launched. They're actually
I
doing
thought you were
the
saying Flight
free weekend.
Simulator. Why
I,
is it called Flight?
it's a flight for the game. Like it's like an alpha slash
I guess
beta
it just seems so
tester.
weird. Because one of my buddies
Yeah,
asked me, he's like, "You playing the Flight this weekend?" I'm like, "What are you
yeah.
talking about? Flight Sim?" Like, no, I did that months ago, bro. It's old news.
Yeah, I know. It's called like the multiplayer flight for it. So I got a chance to play last weekend and played a bit this weekend. They introduced the big team battle mode, so it's 8v8, which so it's about 16 players on the field, which is really different than the smaller maps. But just there's been a I don't know what it is, but 343i especially like the game feels like Halo. It visually looks like Halo, but there's a serious amount of like technical glitches that are happening throughout the game between
Ugh.
getting kicked. Yeah, no, it's
Even after
been
a year
rough.
delay, we're getting that still. That's not good.
That's what I was saying. That's exact. I was like, I'm getting kicked in my games and my lobbies. My guns, like, taking down targets is not registering. The hit animations, everything seems like slow and laggy and off.
Hmm.
Like you go to just melee someone in any game, the
Hmm.
hit registry. I have teleported through people, and they have as a result teleported behind me, or like I phased through them,
It's
and then they
reassuring.
melee. Yeah, and they melee me and get a kill, and I'm like, what the hell? There's just needs to be like I don't know if it's the flight for the tests, and they're testing out the servers or whatever they have to do right now,
Hmm.
which I'm really glad for. But come December, this needs to get like I hope this. I remember the Halo 3 multiplayer beta back in 2007, and we never had any of this, and that beta destroyed Xbox's servers. Like
Ugh.
I the amount of like glitches and bugs and server and lag and connectivity issues that was happening for the past weekend, unbearable. It was awful. But visually, the game looks so Halo and it sounds so Halo. And even though a lot of the guns are new and a lot of the feeling is new,
Hmm.
it's very unlike Halo 4 and 3. This feels very much like a callback. So I'm loving like the aesthetics and the presentation of the game, but the gameplay has just been oof, really off.
That's
Beyond shocking to me that we were supposed to be playing this a year ago.
I don't
What
understand.
what state would it have launched in
I
if
don't
this
that
was?
you know what? I don't know, Alex. I have been playing with my three buddies. So a lot of the lobbies are 4v4 mostly. And we're like a good squad because like we play a lot of Apex. We're naturally competitive like PvP guys. I like FPS and Halo's our bread and butter of old school games. But just with whatever networking they're doing right now is honestly shit, and I don't even like to say that, but not just that, it's like there's balancing issues, huge balancing issues. It's almost like the standard AR, just your regular assault rifle and the pistol is stronger then everything. There's almost no reason to pick up any other gun because the AR and the pistol, except for if you're like, half a mile away and you need a sniper rifle to kill someone. But there is no reason in that mid to close range to pick up any other gun. It's almost as if they do like no damage. So I think they're worried that they're making. I think they've got like the scripting good for the AR and the pistol, but I think they're trying to test out how much damage output the other guns should be doing in relation. And I think they're just either like really underpowered or they've just got to fix some stuff. But otherwise, I don't know how this could have launched last year. It's fun.
Are you looking forward to it this year now, or do you think it's just going to come out and kind of go away?
I'm really upset that Halo Infinite is not getting co-op on launch because
it's not?
No,
that's pretty weird.
It is, right? Like, it's a Halo game. How does it not have co-op? It was literally made for co-op. So I don't understand why after a whole year co-op isn't included or whatever. That's beside the point. I'm always a story person. I like I like a game's narrative. Does it have a good hook? That's what I'm really excited for. Multiplayer and balancing and all that crap and always take like not a backseat, but it'll always get like patched in.
It'll show up eventually.
It'll show up eventually, right? Like that gets fixed, that gets tweaked. Hell, even Destiny has like weekly patches. So it's not that I'm not used to it, but I don't. It's weird. I don't remember playing a Halo game that needed like this level of fine tuning. Even the Halo 3 back on the 360, the beta for that relatively felt pretty close to the end game, but this just has not hit many of the same notes. And it's still fun. It's still really good. It's still really good Halo. It just needs a bit more tuning, and I think it'll hit the spot.
Well, hopefully they get it because it comes out in early December.
Early December.
They got another 2 months ish to get it like figured out, and they like got to like it can't delay that again. I mean, it's
impossible. Microsoft, no way.
They need it out. So
it's kind of been. Yeah.
It's kind of like exciting because like I've wanted this new Halo for a while. I've only just recently got into the series. I was like, all right, let's go. I want to be part of it. I've never been part of a Halo game at launch. Like that's never been.
That's great. This will be a good time for it.
I played Reach years later. I played Combat Evolved years later. All these games I played way after they came out, and like there's still a really dedicated community to them. But it's kind of like they're pros. Like there's no. Kind of hard to get into that. So I was really excited for Halo Infinite to be like, all right, got my Series X. It's going to be great.
I think.
Will it launch in a good state?
I think, you know what? After, thankfully for these flights, I think it will launch in a good state. I think maybe I'm too critical on Halo because it's something I've like literally started Xbox with in 2001. So
I'm sorry, go on.
No, Kevin, go.
No, I was just saying I have gameplay that's playing right now live with everyone can see, and I haven't really watched a lot of just like live videos of this game from probably the last 6 months or so, and it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look great. This doesn't scream next gen. Like I don't know if that's an issue that Halo is coming to Nominator. We want this working on the original Xbox still, or we don't have time to make this look great on the X.
I'll be honest. My friends who still have the Xbox One, because we're playing not only cross-platform but cross-system. We are. He said visually, I'm like, how does it look? He's like, when I see you guys play, because we were streaming a big portion of it. He's like, graphically, the X's version looks so much crispier. I think it's that issue again of running a game on last gen hardware, it's up-resed, it's not native 4K at 60 FPS, it's up-res to that resolution.
Mm-hmm.
but it's because the Xbox One can't go past it, so it has to kind of meet that. But I've seen from how his gameplay looked, and I've looked at my own comparisons to the Xbox One to the Series X, and it is visually a difference. Like once you play it, the frames alone going from 30 to 60 just feels for the first time in a Halo game amazing. Oh my god, it is great. My nitpicks are not with the feel or the look of the game. My nitpicks are very much about like balancing and fine tuning. The look, the feel, the sound, the audio in Halo Infinite sounds incredible. Like I'm used to competitively, I'm used to Destiny where like the audio design on Destiny is absolutely fantastic. With all the supers and sound designs going off in PvP, you have to hear those visual cues. It feels great on Halo Infinite. I'm love like that was one of our big highlights was the sound design. The guns just sound good. The ricocheting, the distance and gunshots, amazing. So I feel good that when it launches in December, it's going to launch close to being perfectly balanced, but I still think they might need to do a bit of post-patch work.
That's also like, remember when Microsoft said, this was a while ago, but they did say like Halo Infinite, the 10-year project. It's going to launch, and then it's not. Don't expect Halo Infinite 2 or anything anytime soon. It's
Halo Infinite.
Yeah, we're gonna build this. We're gonna massage it. We're gonna keep creating to it. So I almost see it like kind of like an MMO in the sense that what you get on day one versus what you get on year 5, year 10 is going to be just entirely different.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Okay,
And
well,
and that has never happened in a Halo game before, where there's such a stark contrast between like day one to day one, year one to like day one, year five. Because we played some Halo 5 Guardians after just to feel, and objectively, Infinite felt better, like as a more complete package. But that's just because Guardians was a little shit. So hopefully, I'm excited for Halo's story. I want to see where that goes. But in terms of just the multiplayer, a few nitpicks. But other than that, let's see where it goes.
not bad. But did you play anything else other than Halo this past week, or mostly just
You
Halo
know,
here?
I'll tell you the honest truth. I two things. A lot of games that have just come out on Game Pass, Alex has recommended to play, which I've been a little too
all of them,
busy to play.
all
Literally
of
all
them.
of them. I don't even know how to. Every single game that's come out, Alex is like, "Yo, you got to play this game." I'm like, "Okay, I will. I promise." And I've actually downloaded them to be played for this week. But I went back to playing Hades again,
Hmm.
and
So good.
I don't know why I can't get enough of that game. It's unbearably fun. Like once you beat the game the first time, you can get to do like certain challenge modes. And I'm finding like the post game, or at least I can't, it's hard to even say once you beat the game once, that's like the real game. But like it's like barely like 15%.
Hmm.
The additional challenges that are on the like the that are amazing because you can make it so that you fight, like let's just say the first boss, for example. Okay, this happened to me. I was like, oh my god, what is happening? So you can make the game harder and get more rewards by increasing difficulty. Amazing feature. So many games should include something like that. I didn't notice what I was clicking, and I clicked it like 3 times. And there's a modifier to give bosses one extra attack, and I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
how how hard can one extra attack be for the like
It's
extra
like
gold that I'll
impossible.
get? I got to the first boss, and the first boss, and without doing that, alternates 3 different bosses. You can fight either one of 3 sisters. Well, I got to the boss room, and all of a sudden, all 3 sisters are in there, and I'm like, "What is happening right now?" And they're like, "Yeah, so we're gonna tag team you this time. I hope you're ready." I was like, "No, no, I'm not ready." And they used all of their attacks, spammed them, and I'm like, "This is excellent, excellent quality here." Like value and content, oh my god, that game is incredible. And a little bit of Brawlhalla. I haven't got my Nintendo Switch yet, and I'm really craving a little bit of Smash Bros. So I've been playing that here and there.
Are you getting the OLED next week?
Ooh, Alex. Okay, so why don't we?
I sold you on Scarlet Nexus. I've sold you,
You
on
did?
the Somnium. I'm going to sell you on a Switch OLED. Comes out next week.
You want? I if we have a little extra time at the end, I wouldn't mind talking about that. Let's do that. All right, and that's it for mine for the week.
All right. What about you, Alex? What have you been up to?
Yeah, so my week, a bit more Ring Fit Adventure. So I'm sticking to it. It's been a week so far, so
Nice.
no mad gains to show off yet. I can't like lift up my shirt and be like, check out this 12-pack, guys. But it's pretty fun. I'm getting to the point where it's like it's becoming part of my routine, like my daily up in the morning, get the coffee pot going. Get ready for work, do a bit of Ring Fit Adventure, 10-15 minutes just to kind of get the blood going. And like by the time I'm done that, I'm like, all right, my coffee's ready, time to hit the shower and go to work.
It's not a bad routine. That's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I've always liked going to the gym in the morning or working out in the morning. Because by the end of the day, if I do it after work, I'm just like, I don't want to. I want to go home and just play video games and be lazy. So Ring Fit Adventure has been kind of a nice way to like wake up and do that. So I've been playing that, but that's kind of
So
I know it's old.
really quick,
Yeah,
I'm gonna plug something. Talking about morning workouts and getting that in there. There's actually I've been talking to him, and I know you guys. I think I posted about it with you, but there's a group online. I'm trying to get their name right because I say it wrong every time, so I'm trying to look it up. They do a morning stream on Twitch. I think 4 or 5 days a week now. They're called Connected Community Health Support. If you look it up on Twitch or Facebook or just Google it, they do like a 45-minute roughly a video of like easy, simple exercises. So I've been doing that every morning as I'm like just answering emails. I have a TV in my room and I'll stand up and I'll follow along the exercises, and it's simple stuff. But it's a group of like I think 3 or 4 guys that are kind of putting together. It's pretty neat. So I'm doing an interview with them. It'll be up on YouTube probably by 2 or 3 more weeks from now. And I thought it was just kind of neat. They're kind of taking Twitch and instead of doing gaming, they're pushing health. So I think it kind of blends in pretty good together because it's on Twitch and it's all free. They also offer like personal training and stuff you can do online, but all the free stuff is the Twitch stream every week. So check out Connected Community Health. Okay, back to you. I thought that was a good plug as soon as we start talking about workout, because I've been doing it almost every morning with them just to get me moving because I'm sitting all day.
That's a really good plug, and it's like in our like, this changes depending on where you are in the world and
in our gaming lives.
Our gaming lives. But with like local restrictions, there's still a thing in a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the gym isn't an option for you. Maybe you can't, or you don't feel up to going there yet. Things like that are great. Like it's just kind of I think it's safe to say that a lot of people have put on some pandemic bellies. I definitely have. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
So yeah, Ring Fit Adventure has been kind of a nice way to get back into that kind of healthy mindset, as he says as he drinks his cola beverage.
Is it Coke Zero though? I have Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar Cherry.
These are the new like scary looking cans.
Yeah.
Zero.
Spoopy. My espresso shot here that I'm like slowly slipping away.
Espresso. I would be.
You're gonna be up at like
all night long.
It's like Arabic. It's Arabic Turkish coffee. It's got a nice kick to it, but I'm so used to
incredible.
It.
Yeah, so other than Ring Fit Adventure, finished Moonlighter, which there's a review up on linkablegaming.com, so you can check my full thoughts on it. But played Moonlighter on the phone, on cell phone, on mobile, which was play a lot of mobile games. And a lot of the ones I play tend to be like this, like the one hand you can kind of like doing something else and just kind of swipe through. But this was like a full action adventure. Full RPG type thing through it. I mean, Moonlighter itself is an older game, but it only just came to Android. So played that for a whole bunch. It was a lot of fun. don't want to say too much because I would like for you to read the review. I thought it was a written review at least. It's kind of like that old problem with ports to mobile is how do you do buttons? It's all like on the touch screen itself. You have like a virtual joystick and everything. It's just you lose that precision, which kind of drove me a little crazy. Especially like when you're fighting like 1,000 enemies and you're just like trying to like swipe and your thumb is covering the actual screen, and I was like, it's,
I hate touch controls.
I've really makes me miss, like I played the DS and the 3DS a whole lot, and I really miss having the touch controls on a separate screen. I was like, that's so nice. Like you could still do touch controls and still have like that whole full customization, but it was off the screen. That was always nice. But yeah, Moonlighter, I really liked it. I would probably recommend playing it on a console or on PC with an actual controller over playing it on mobile. But it was really cool. Check out the website for the review. Then just keep plugging away at the 1,001 RPGs I'm playing. Making a little bit of progress in each of them. Replaying Octopath Traveler.
I would like to play Octopath Traveler. It's on my Game Pass, and I would really want to try it.
Replaying it, I played it for review, and when you do a game for review, here's a bit of industry secret. It's a lot of the side quests and a lot of like the story beats. You kind of just move past them because you're
absolutely,
like, I need to see this game through. So now I'm kind of going back and redoing Octopath Traveler. So it is a very verbose game. It talks and talks and talks and talks and talks. But yeah, it's been nice to kind of play that. Tokyo Mirage Sessions is another one that I'm exact same reason replaying. On the Wii U, so a reason to keep my Wii U plugged in. I know it's on Switch, but I got it on Wii U, and I don't really feel like it's not a game I feel like buying twice. There's another longer RPG that has been taking over my life. Oh God, what was it? Oh, the name is escaping me. Earthbound Beginnings.
What is it?
Earthbound Beginnings, the first Earthbound game.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Whoa. Did you just say Earthbound Beginnings?
Yes.
Alex, you are a poster image incredible gamer. Oh my God. Why?
Because I have it and I want to play it.
Oh man, that's just such a call. That's such a good game.
Give you a secret. All the things you see behind me, I haven't necessarily played all of these, so I am working through them.
Oh man, I wish I could play Earthbound.
I have no idea which one I'm going to touch. I bet you I haven't played this. I have not played that. So it was a Slug Anthology.
Hilarious.
Yeah, that's been me. That's been my week.
All right. Sounds exciting. Very active with your Ring Fit over there. I like it. All right. Let me take a sip. So I've been playing everybody's favorite game, and I'll throw up some gameplay. Elix. I can't stop playing this game.
Again. What is this game?
You guys have to play Elix. I'm blown away by the amount of depth in so many different things in this game. There's a lot of... It's got its jank for sure, but it's acceptable in a way that I can't stop playing. It's the only thing I've really played. I've gotten like 27 hours into it now, I think. And I just keep playing. I was playing right before the show. I wonder, I also think that leading into some of my last game I'm going to talk about, which leads into one of our stories, I haven't been able to play because of reasons, which we're going to get into. But yeah, Elix has just taken over literally everything in my life. This game, I can't remember if I went into it on the show, but the quick overview of what the game is it's a giant open world RPG. You're a guy. It's a comet came and hit the Earth, meteor thing. It spread this Elix everywhere, and there's all these different groups of people that are trying to use it for different ways, for magic, for powering weapons, for stims into their body, all this kind of stuff. And you basically choose which group you want to be part of, and it's, if you think of like a post-apocalyptic Mad Max world, Game of
Cool.
Thrones, medieval magic dragons, and sci-fi like super guns and lasers all mashed together in one game. That's Elix.
What are you
It's
playing this on PC?
I'm playing it on Xbox. I'm playing on my
What?
Series X, and I got this. I got the disc for
I'm
like
gonna look
nine.
this up.
It's such a good game. I cannot. Everybody I've talked to, I'm like, just please play this game. Please play it. And I haven't gotten anyone to get into it yet, but I cannot stop playing it. It is so good. It's
ELIX?
ELEX. The gameplay's a little jank, but like mostly combat is really where it like is like okay, it's outdated,
There it
but
is.
it's not. But it's not bad where it's like, oh, I hate this, I can't do it, because I'm kind of playing in a way where I'm just trying to over level myself. So if like the controls are a little bit weird, it doesn't really bother me because I'm just destroying stuff. But it's a hard game. Like I'm
I'm
playing.
confused. This is from 2017.
It's a game that it went under the radar so hard. I barely heard about it, and the sequel is
It
coming
looks-
out. The sequel's coming out sometime this year, supposedly. It was announced for 2021. I have a feeling 2022 will be closer to what it's going to actually be, but
Wow, it's
yeah, you guys
I-
got to play this.
I'm looking at it. All the reviews are like better than Skyrim, hardcore RPG, and they're
It's
giving it
so
5
good.
stars.
It's-
And then the like 1 or 2 stars are like, this game is too hard. Combat is really difficult.
So I thought the same thing about combat at the beginning, because the game is not forgiving. It does not. It
Yeah,
doesn't like
that's-
try to like help you. It starts off, if you're fighting people and they're hard, no matter what. You need to get your gear up. So you basically avoid combat for the first like 15% of the game until you can at least get some good gear. But you can get good experience by just doing fetch quests and little things here and there, and then like going to the main cities, and like it's pretty fun. Like it can get a little daunting because it is repetitive, certain parts of it,
Oh,
but
from the creators of the Gothic series.
yeah, and
Nice.
Risen.
That's,
So
that's
Okay.
yeah. I know. I think Alex. I think I've
So
heard
yeah,
Alex talk about Gothic
I'll stop
before.
harping on. I know this is probably the third week in a row I've talked about Elix, but this probably won't be my last. I probably have one more
Hold on.
week of playing.
So, Elix offers one of the widest selections of weaponry in the history of RPGs: swords, hammers, bows, shotguns, grenade launchers, flamethrowers.
It's all over the place. It's bonkers.
So, Alex, just to let you know, Elix's cover is really cool. It's like split into 3 parts. It has like a futuristic cyber sci-fi kind of look up top, a
Checking it out
medieval,
right now.
yeah, a medieval look kind of in the middle, and I think like a knight in shining armor
Yeah.
kind of like at the bottom.
It's because it's
Like
got
a-
those 3 different, like the factions that make up the world. They
Right.
all live differently. So the berserkers live
Right.
like old-timey medieval. They don't believe in using technology. They use the Elix for magic. So they take it and they break it down and they use it for mana, and then they found out how to use this magic, and they use magic powers, like medieval type magic, like fire
Alex, this
and
looks really
ice
cool,
and
man.
that kind of stuff. Then the sci-fi group, which is the clerics, they use it to power their technology and weapons, and they use lasers and robots and stuff, and they use it as a power source for that. And then the third group is the outlaws, and they use it for they take it as a stimulant, so they like inject it into themselves and stuff like that, and they use it, and they're like Mad Max people where they just screw each other over, and there's just like chaos everywhere in the desert. So
This has happened a lot lately, where there's games that come out, and they don't really catch on right when they are new, and then years later, maybe some streamers or whatever have like picked it up. Like Among Us is the one that always comes to mind. That game came out years and years ago, and it only kind of blew
caught
up
on
this year.
randomly, yeah.
So, but yeah, like you're not the only one who I've heard go on about Elix and how it's like this big,
Really?
like you need to play this game. Yeah, it's think,
It's tough. I would definitely recommend start on normal, but you might want to switch the difficulty to easy because it is pretty challenging. I went to easy and it's not been too bad from this point. It feels like that should be normal, but I'm also a bad gamer, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I just want to talk about this game with somebody. So anybody listening, anybody on the show with me, anyone anywhere, just let me know if you're playing this. We can talk about it because there's so many little things. It feels like a real open world adventure because you don't know what you're gonna find. Like I'll wander around and I'll find legendary weapons, and I'm like, oh, I did not expect to find this, and I can't use it, but I'm gonna start leveling up my strength or my constitution so I can use it, and then that kind of stuff. But anyways, I'm sure I'll come back to Elix next week. Outside of that, I played a little VR. I finished up the game Arizona Sunshine. I've been playing that with my mom. It's difficult to play with someone who's not a gamer, but we had a good time. It was a pretty short game.
I love
But
when you play games with your mom.
yeah, I enjoy VR stuff. It's pretty fun. And then I have one more game I'll talk about, New World, which I'll save for a second. But I did get something that I've been trying to figure out. I know Alex always does his show and tell.
I know what that is.
So I finally found a 2DS XL because I've been trying to find one forever at a decent price. And I found one at this used game store, Second and Charles. I don't know if they have those by you or if they're even...
Burn
No.
it.
Anyways, they just sell like used games and new games and books and stuff. And they had it there for like $120 US, which is usually, I would say that's kind of a lot. But on eBay, as I'm looking at it, and I've been following on eBay for months, they're going for like $200, $250 US. So I ended up getting for 115 like out the door because the guy gave me a coupon that wasn't supposed to be used in consoles, but it ended up working for like 10% off and some other stuff. So
That's good.
so I feel pretty good. I'm probably gonna I've been playing with it a little bit just to make sure it works. I have 14 days to return it. The speaker might be bad on it. I'm not sure if it's just a 2DS issue because the cartridges have like a cover on it, which I didn't even know about. There's a little cover which you can kind of see, and then you put the games in there. When I close it and shut it all the way, it feels like it helps, but if it's open, the speakers kind of vibrate because it's such a light and hollow system.
Okay.
But
yeah, that's weird.
everything's working. I looked online, though, to replace the speaker, they said is the easiest thing to do on it. So I was like, okay, if I could do that. I watched the video. It didn't look too bad. But it is working. Everything's fine. The speakers are working. I might just be making things up that are not even wrong. But I was pretty excited about that. So
That's a good find. That's the only model of 3DS I don't have.
yeah,
It's
that
the
was same here.
New TDS XL.
Well, actually, I had the original 3DS. I sold that. So I don't own it anymore, but I did. But I have the new 3DS XL, and then I have a regular XL 3DS. But now I'm ready. I'm future proof. I'm like, if all three break, then I'm not supposed to be able to play 3DS games again. So I think I'm okay.
I think it's like it's supposed to happen that way.
Yeah,
if
at that
that's,
point.
you know.
At that point, I'd go play your Switch, I guess. So finally, this brings me to the game New World, which kind of leads into our first story.
Let's get into our first article for today.
And I've
New
been
World.
pretty excited to play this game. I was back and forth about wanting to play it, and I was like,
You have been talking about it so much.
Yeah, I kept going back and forth. I'm hearing people talk about it. It's $40. I'm like, I don't need to buy it. And I'm cleaning up my office, and I find a gift card, like a Visa gift card for $50. I'm like, I think this is a sign I need to buy this game. I was like, you know what? All right, I'm going to go buy it. So I bought the game, installed it. I was like, you know, I would love to play it and then write like a little first impressions about this and just talk about it for the website. And then I get into a queue. And this was, I think it was the day after launch day. So I think this would have been on Thursday, I want to say it was. 'Cause I think it came out Wednesday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
Whatever day it was. I think it was 1 or 2 days after launch. Still huge queue times.
I don't understand that. Like I was looking on Reddit and some 9gag, and everyone's just complaining that there's a serious amount of like queue waiting, and I'm like,
Oh yeah. So some countries didn't even have like proper servers yet, so they were playing on, I think it was Asia and Australia or something. I don't know exactly, but a streamer that I watch who lives in Japan,
Cool.
He's an American guy that moved over there with his girlfriend, and he has to play on West Coast U.S. servers because there were no Japanese servers for Asia, nothing. So one, it sucks for them because their ping is ridiculous, so everything's kind of jerky and laggy. But then it sucks for U.S. players because now their servers are being full of all the Asia players, so it's like a lose-lose for everybody. And that was one of the big issues that was causing just chaos. So from what I haven't tried since Friday when I got in, and I got in for a few minutes, but I had to leave. Oh, it is crazy storming outside. So if we lose podcast,
Awesome.
I'm so sorry, guys. On Friday, I got in, made a character, played for like 5 minutes, and then I had to leave. But I will hopefully get to play this week, and I've been told that they are adding new servers and making it less and less of an issue. And they're doing free server transfers for characters, and you're not going to be allowed to make a character on an already over full server already, which was causing problems. So TBD on that. That'll be a future issue. But leading into our first story, not only has this game been having server issues, back during the alpha beta time of the New World game, there were reports going out that people with NVIDIA's newer and higher end 3090 graphics cards were literally losing them. They were bricking and just becoming obsolete.
Just
And
3090s or anything with 3080s?
3090s were the ones that were coming out. I don't know if the 3080s were hit then, but the issue with that is somehow the game on certain models, I don't think it was every 3090. I think it was, people are saying EVGA branded cards, and that's what, I know a person who actually had theirs brick. They had a 3080 Ti that got bricked.
Oof.
Holy crap, the rain is insane, you guys. I can like hear it through my microphone. It's so loud.
Wow.
The problem is the game would just continuously push frames to the card, and instead if you didn't lock it, they said it would just try to do unlimited and push it and push it and push it, and the card wouldn't stop. It would just overheat and basically die. That was the most untechnical way you could have said that, but something like that is happening and was killing the card from everything I've heard.
That's an old graphics processing problem, and it's shocking to me. Like that's been happening since, like, that is a very day one. You're a video game developer. Make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
I have not heard of graphics cards getting bricked before. Consoles,
I've heard of it years ago. Like Alex is saying, like I remember like Half-Life 1 days, people talking about stuff like that. Like friends I knew that were having problems with that. Like this was 1999.
And Conquer Tiberian Sun, the very first release of it, would do that. It would constantly send to your whatever, like probably onboard video card at the time, it would just constantly send it to be like up this, and your computer would just go. You'd get a blue screen of death.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Oh my god.
So allegedly, these are all allegations that who knows if they're actually happening, but people are saying that, I don't know if it's Amazon that came out or just people on Reddit, but it's not the game. They're saying that EVGA, because it seems to only be EVGA branded cards, the first run cards have some type of configuration the way it's set up, where the newer versions of them do not have this, where something's soldered the wrong way or not soldered to protect something. I don't know the technical part of it, but
so they're saying it's not the game and it's the graphic cards are
everyone's
defective?
saying that it's the graphic card hardware, and EVGA, it knows about this happening, and they are offering like RMAs. You can return it and get a new card, and they're being okay about it. The one issue which I started hearing about, one of my friends, she has a 3080 Ti. She was playing New World. She had an issue. Computer shut off. Turned it back on. Everything was still working. She kind of thought it was a fluke. She has a first launch 3080 Ti that came out. Tried it again, and her card just died, I think, yesterday. Like, completely dead from playing New World.
So brand new video cards.
Yeah,
like,
so she's trying to RMA it, get a return, and do all this, but the card was purchased under somebody else's name, so it wasn't through her, and then she purchased it from them, and they're telling her that the name doesn't match in the account and they won't do it. So rough. Now she's panicking, and she's been tweeting at... She's a podcast host also of a game show, like another video game show, so she's got everybody retweeting this thing trying to get support, and I'm hope she figures it out. But it worries me because I have a 3080. I don't have an EVGA, so I think I'm okay, but if something did happen to me playing this game, I can't get it back because I purchased my card from somebody else other than my name too, so I don't know if I'd be able to return it and get a new one. So it makes me a little worried playing on a $700, $800 graphics card that some Amazon game could just kill me, and that would be the end. So
it's a very scary thing to like I know whenever especially like on the console side of things, whenever a new update is pushed and you get these reports that like, hey, that, like, I know the what was it, the NVMe drive for the PS5, some people were saying, hey, this bricks your console, don't update it, and everyone was like running to unplug their routers basically because they didn't want their brand new PlayStation 5s to become a paperweight. So it's always scary, and like especially like in the olden days of like the late 2000s, it was pretty easy because you usually had to
so many consoles.
Well, you usually had to tell your system, yes, I want this update. You could decline the update. Nowadays, because they're always online, like my Switch, my Xbox, they're always online. They're just always updating constantly, and it's like if an update if an update is poor or has like a bug in it, you kind of have it. You can't really avoid it, so it's kind of a scary time for that. So
And you
Yeah.
have to update it, or else you can't go online afterwards.
nowadays, that's how they do the copy protection. You can't play anything.
It's
Mm-hmm.
scary. I'm tempted to try to play the game on my laptop and just see how that works, or my other computer in the basement because I have a 1080, or I have an older like mobile chip on my laptop. So I don't know. I'm just nervous to. I think I'm
Kevin,
okay, but man, I would cry if my graphics card died.
is it because like is the game just technically that impressive or
No, it's
that
not.
demanding?
It's
Because I've seen
it's
gameplay and I'm like,
not that great looking of a game. It looks nice. It looks good. It looks
yeah,
decently good for an MMO even. It looks,
MMOE,
but
yeah.
it's not it's not like, oh my god, this is the best game ever. Everyone needs to go see it. So it's I don't know. It's something. I've heard
No,
so many different things. Amazon has said they took. I'm reading the article. It says Amazon Games previously took steps to try to mitigate issues during their beta through an FPS limiter in the game's menu.
Hmm.
But I don't know if that doesn't seem like it's done anything
yeah.
because this happened to my friend yesterday.
It's what I was saying earlier. This sounds like such a basic level computer like game development bug where it's constantly asking for more resources, but there's nothing telling card or the game to stop asking once it reaches a limit. Like I'm not a game developer. Like I'm sure there are people out there who will be able to explain this in like technical details. But basically, if your game is asking for resources from the graphics processor, it's constantly being like, hey, I'd like to run more of this, more of this, more of this. Um, and your graphics processor should have a limit saying like you've asked for enough.
Yeah.
Um, I'm going to cut you off at this point, and that's where you get into like limits. Like this game can only run at a certain amount of frames per second, or can only have a certain amount of triangles on screen and things like that. Sounds very much like they forgot to put in that limit, and just kind of the game is just like taking, and the video card is just giving. At some point something's got to break, and it will usually be the hardware at that point, because it's the software is just numbers and like ones and zeros, but the hardware is like overheating trying to do all these calculations. So
Hmm. That makes sense. I feel really bad for these people, man. You want to play this brand new game, by Amazon. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
big hype, and
After they wait 6 hours in queue, they finally get in. Their computer burns down.
yeah.
I have a friend. She was telling me a story about how um, she logged in. The wait time was like 5 hours. She got up, like walked the dog, made supper, had supper, did all like her day. Then it was time. She finally got into play, and she was like, "I don't want to now."
Oh
Like,
my
I'm just,
gosh.
but it's frustrating because like you pay for a game, want to be able to play it, not watch a queue shrink, right? Like World of Warcraft has this too, or had this too. I remember way back in the day when like a new WoW expansion would come out, like Cataclysm or
The good days.
yeah, like Cataclysm or Pandaria would come out, and like log on, and it was like, oh, you gotta wait a couple of hours now. It's like, oh, but I paid for like I own quote unquote this.
Well,
Um,
everybody's saying it's ironic because Amazon's like the second largest like server like
Yeah.
house. What's the right word? Like they have
A
the most
host?
amount of servers that they have that they rent out to the rest of the world. I think they're just second behind Microsoft, and they're having server issues. Like could have put a little more money into that,
Imagine
bro.
imagine though if Amazon has server issues and they're the second biggest in the world. How do smaller like game companies or smaller
I
indie studios who have like much reduced, even though they're on like the Microsoft servers themselves,
yeah,
deal with that?
they'll use Azure, which is Microsoft, or they'll use AES, which is Amazon. Like they'll use their servers. Yeah, you're right. It's who do you? No, I think anyway. Sorry, I interrupted your point entirely. Go.
No, not at all. But you're right. It's good that they at least use the software. It's just if the main provider of the company itself is having server issues, it kind of makes me have a different perspective of when like companies do, who they have their own servers, even though they're based on, you're right, PlayStation and Sony's and Amazon's, but PlayStation and Xbox and Amazon's, I mean, but I don't know, it just puts things into a different perspective.
true.
It's like
Okay.
a lot of
Let me
these,
grab.
a lot of this. Just gonna say
Sorry,
real
guys.
quick.
No, go on, go on.
Go
I
on.
just trying to get the next
Okay.
story in case I lose power here because my lights were flashing a second ago. Go on.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll say this super fast. A lot of these old server like infrastructure is old. It has
I
not
bet.
kept up with modern demands on it. So no one expected all the streaming 10 years ago, and they're still being run on servers that are
Old.
Of that
the old,
mentality.
the olden days.
Hmm.
Just old hardware, like just fundamentally old hardware. So
Maybe this will finally kind of bridge that gap to get companies to advance a little bit of that.
I think 5G is the the thing that'll kick that in, because now all of a sudden people are going to demand on their phones and mobile devices to stream 4K video over a network, and you need very, very powerful servers for that. So I think 5G is marketing itself as like, hey, look at all these amazing things you can do, but is the infrastructure up behind it able to actually support that? See, so
Makes
Alex's
sense.
thoughts on technology.
Yeah, infrastructure is a big thing that's holding a lot of gaming back, I think, and that's I mentioned to you guys, but even just with streaming coming in the future takes a lot of bandwidth, and not only that, it's now people are starting to get, at least here in the US, we're starting to get data caps on how much data we can use on our cable internet. So
Crazy.
with streaming becoming a big thing and trying to push this more, which is like a good idea for the future since we can't all have hardware and we're all facing the shortage of hardware because it's so hard to find these pieces to make it. Streaming is a good alternative, but when you've got a cap on like a terabyte or 2 terabytes a month, like you're gonna hit some of that pretty quick when you're streaming crazy 4K quality stuff and it's a game. And I don't know, more future that's crazy infrastructure, but
Kevin, sorry. I know you want to hop on to the next point, but before just one thing before we do that. You've played New World, right?
I
Have
played
you
it for
even-
like 7 minutes. Yeah, I got through the character creation screen and got in.
Okay. In your first 7 minutes,
It was
did
fun.
you enjoy it?
All I did was run around a little bit. I talked to some people. What I did is I was like, after waiting, I'm like, I just want to play this stupid game. I just joined a random server and my friends weren't playing on it, so I didn't want to level them up or anything. But I did do the character creation screen for a little while, and that was okay. It didn't seem very like there wasn't a ton of options. It does feel weird that there's a lot of options that are like cyberpunk haircuts and stuff that just don't seem like it fits in this world. Like
Okay.
it just seems like they're trying to be very like modern with the hair, and I'm like, I don't think people back then had hair like this, and I feel like the game overall is a pretty serious tone to it, and then we have a blue-haired person that's got like a half-shaven cut in the back. It like just doesn't seem like it fits in medieval times. Looks cool in Cyberpunk, but not in New World. So that was a little odd, and then running through the game was fine. There's just a shit ton of people running around the city. It's crazy because so many people are playing right now.
Crazy. All right.
So
I just wanted to hear some of that.
yeah, I mean, it's fun. I've watched tons of streams, and everyone seems to like it, and it looks addictive and simple and what I want to do. So I'm sure I'll get into it. You guys should play with me because my other friends are playing are way too far ahead of me for even to catch up. So
Oh boy.
You scared me now. Do I install it or will my computer catch
Yeah,
fire?
seriously.
well, I mean,
right?
what graphics card do you have right now?
Oh, I'm still building my PC, so I'm using a 1070 Ti on my
Okay,
laptop.
so there you go. That'll be perfect. Those ones aren't burning up. It's just the 300 series so far.
Oh, they're like 10 years old.
Yeah, they're not too bad. That's why I want to play on my 1080 because hopefully it won't blow up on me. Anyways, moving on. Next
Moving
story.
on.
I don't have tons of opinions on it, but I have a feeling you two both will.
I probably will.
Sony has acquired
Yes.
Bluepoint Games, the studio behind remakes and a lot of other random stuff. So I know who they are, but I haven't really heard a bunch about them other than I think Demon Souls is the latest that they put out,
Yep.
or one of
that
the
is
latest
right.
at
Yep.
least. So what do you guys think of this? I actually thought they were owned by Sony already, so I'm not gonna lie
Me
about
too.
that. But
Me too.
I like
We were, Alex. I swear to God, we were having that conversation at some point back when Demon Souls came out. We're like, do they own these people or what?
that's all I know. I didn't even think about. I literally thought they were owned by them. I didn't think that they were already still out there waiting to be bought. But yeah, they just joined the Sony family. Sony's scooping up some companies. Yeah, what do you guys think?
I have some thoughts, Alex, if you want to.
Share your thoughts.
So, I am. I have played, and I have recently. It gave, um, for good cause, one of our highest reviews for a game on PlayStation 5, and it was the Demon Souls remake or remastered edition on the PS5 by Bluepoint. Demon Souls was already a really atmospheric game compared to the other games in the Souls franchise. Much more so, even up to today's standards. Like you might feel that same kind of atmosphere in like in Bloodborne, uh, and that's what almost 8 year after game that released. The the visual style from each remake that they've done, I feel, has been so authentic to their game's core, but as an updated measure. I was looking, and the last game they did that was not a remaster or a remake, if you'll believe it, if you look up a game called Blast Factor. To quote, it is the only game developed by Bluepoint Games that is not a remaster or report, and this was a PlayStation 3 downloadable game.
I've never heard
Um,
of it.
I have never heard of it. It got average
Hmm.
reviews, and let's see, gameplay. What? A player pilots a microscopic craft through a series of infected cells and uses the craft's weaponries to rid the cells of various infections. So it's like a twin stick shooter, kind of.
Okay.
Um, and right after that, the only game, this was 2006, the only game in their libraries are all remasters and remakes. God of War Collection in 2009, Ico and Shadow Colossus, Metal Gear Solid HD Collection in 2011, PlayStation All Stars, the port to Vita, Flower, which is a port to PS4. They did the Uncharted Collection and Gravity Rush, both in 2015 for the PS4, and Shadow of the Colossus in 2018,
They've done
and
quite a
Demon
bit.
Souls. They've done quite a bit.
Um,
And then Demon Souls in 2020, tail end of 2020 with the PlayStation 5's release. So they've had a history developing on exclusively Sony platforms. 3 generations of remasters and remakes. That's, I feel, like a good sign. But the real only game that they've ever done themselves was a 2006 PlayStation 3 twin stick shooter as a downloadable only.
um, there was a news report a little while, like just after this was announced, that because a lot of people were asking Bluepoint, like, what's your next project? What are you porting next, basically?
Right.
And they responded with, well, we're not confirming or denying what we're working on now, but we are interested in working on an original IP.
Title.
Like that is
Yeah.
what they want to do next, apparently. Um, which is interesting because it's kind of like, who knows what it could be. It could be literally anything. They have experience, obviously, making taking someone else's work and bringing it to modern systems. But and they are they able to make a PlayStation 5 game that would kind of be considered first party AAA, or are they kind of a small, like it
Like a more middling kind of company, not your Santa Monica's or your Naughty Dogs per se.
I have no idea, right? Like who knows? Maybe they do have the talent to make something just Santa Monica, and they haven't really gone in that direction. Or maybe they are smaller and are like, hey, we're gonna start off somewhere else and do something like that. Because there are video game companies out there, like developers, that are porting houses. Like that's what they do. They just port
Absolutely.
games, and Bluepoint was always one of those. So now the idea that they are thinking about making an original game, an original IP, it's interesting because it could be literally anything. There's no starting point to kind of base yourself off. I mean, they could make another twin stick shooter, but I think that would be kind of
Not the right move.
well, it's like very ambitious. Like it could. I mean, I say that knowing, like, I think of like Geometry Wars, which is a really really fun game. But you kind of want to see more from these guys, especially like you said, like even Souls 2020. It was an excellent launch title. It was the best launch title on the PlayStation 5.
And
It,
of the Series X, which technically didn't even have any real launch games, but that aside, you're right.
of that generation, of this generation's launch, yeah, absolutely. Um, it's interesting to see kind of where they might go, what they might do. Sony is buying up. I saw a lot. I saw online some people comparing this to Microsoft buying ZeniMax, and I was like, guys, hold on, hold
Yeah,
on.
Yeah,
everyone needs
It's
to
not
take a shot bubble.
it's not as big as Microsoft buying ZeniMax. That
This
was
isn't even like a toss in the coin bucket compared to ZeniMax.
oh, this reminded me actually of what was it last year when Nintendo bought Next Level Games? They because this is a studio. Bluepoint is a company that has worked with Sony. They're really close with them. We all thought they were already owned by them, so it's kind of that same like, hey, we're already close. Let's be a little closer and be the same. That's what I felt about this acquisition. But I think the big one that everyone wants them to work on, and this was a lot of people were talking about this before Demon's Souls 2020 was even announced, is a port remake, whatever you call it, of Metal Gear Solid 4. Which is,
And you had just mentioned that actually recently.
I just bought it, so I'm like, hey everyone, Metal Gear Solid 4. Yeah, like having that game is still stuck on PS3 Island. Like it's the only Metal Gear game that has never been on a different system, or brought forward. So I think a lot of people are ready to replay that one at this point. I can definitely see the hey point. You guys are really good at bringing the PS3 era games over to the current gen. How about
work on this.
Metal Gear Solid 4?
So I mean, if you take a look at their history of developing games, it's been mostly action adventure games. God of War, Nathan Drake, or the Uncharted collection. You had actually Titanfall. So there's an FPS, but the only game ported from no Metal Gear Solid also got an HD collection. Those are the only two ported to the Xbox 360. And then after those two, nothing for any PlayStation 4 game, and the only thing for PlayStation 5. So most of these games have been action oriented. You know, not heavy on the RPG mechanics, except for Demon's Souls. Really, Gravity Rush had its fair bit, but I mean, safe guess to say it'll be some kind of action adventure game.
Yeah, I could. It's in their wheelhouse for sure. I mean, would a God of War collection of like the original trilogy make sense on PS5? Yeah, I could definitely see. It's kind of weird because it's like God of War has changed so like what is currently God of War versus what
It's
was
very
God of War
different.
might be alienating to be like, hey, here's Kratos ripping people's heads off and just like it's like there's story, but it's not super important. The action is more important. That could be interesting to go back to. It kind of jumps out as like what is Sony's action adventure franchise that could be brought forward.
Oh no, like, what I meant, Alex, was like a new IP, like a new action adventure IP. Yeah, something. Since they've worked on things like that, maybe something similar. That's my guess.
I can for sure see it. It just like trying to guess a new IP is like it's impossible. It could be literally anything. Oh,
we have so much info on Starfield, and we're still in speculation phase, let alone something that hasn't even been announced yet. God, I think play Starfield.
I think it's.
I want to know what it is. Sorry, Alex.
I think Bluepoint and Sony. I mean, we already all thought they were already owned by them, so of course it makes perfect sense. It's a good get for them for sure. It's not ZeniMax, but it's a good get.
Not ZeniMax, people. Chill out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, to me, I'm just like, man, the only thing that I'm thinking is maybe Demon's Souls will come to PS Plus free game now. That's all I'm thinking about, because I kind of want to play it, but I don't want to buy it because I know I'll hate it, but I want to play it and just see what it looks like for like 15 minutes.
I'm at the final boss, and I want to beat it, but I'm also really scared because the final boss is like an animal. And I don't know if I'm
I
like
don't even know
I
how you
don't know
got
if I'm
there.
like
That's already
I don't know
tough
if
enough.
I swear, man, I don't know if I'm mentally just ready to face this boss again because beating it the first time just the original Demon Souls had a few like cheeky exploits where you could get like unlimited health boons, and it's not like I can't have like semi unlimited here, but I don't know. Have you ever gone into like a boss battle and you're just like, I need a beer, I need a drink, I need some chips. Like this is gonna be like I need like all my focus. Like don't talk to me right now. I'm just not ready to play it on the remaster, man. I'm just not.
That is me anytime I'm playing a JRPG, which is just my wheelhouse.
Yeah,
That's where I'm at. It's like you beat the game, but you know there's a secret boss.
that's it,
You
man.
do the massive side quest and you find the secret boss and you get to the save point right before it.
Yeah,
You're like,
exactly.
all right, that's a tomorrow problem or that's a this
Yeah,
weekend problem. I need a I
I
need
need to
a
be ready. I need to
uh,
be ready.
Hmm.
You'll have fun. You'll hate your life.
All right. Well, this brings us to our last little article, and it's not even any new news. It's just kind of beating us down a little bit as we're getting excited for the future. We all know about the shortages going on with basically everything in the world. We kind of hit on how graphics cards are in low demand, or I'm sorry, high demand, low supply. Automotive is in a hot mess of trying to get parts for cars. The food chain is getting rougher and rougher. I'm hearing beef is going to become harder for us next few months here. You name it, it's tough. Well, Microsoft's had our boy Phil Spencer came out and said, "Yeah,
Ah,
get ready
boy.
for another year of this because it's going to continue well into 2022." He's saying. So this is he was quoted saying, "I think it's probably too isolated to talk about it as just a chip problem. So it's not just the microchip shortage. When I think about it, what does it mean? Parts necessarily build a console a day and then get it to market where the demand is. There's multiple kinds of pinch points in the process. So there's a shortage on so many levels, and then labor shortages on top of all that, trying to get the people to make the parts, and then get the parts, have the people to make the things with the parts. So it's just so if you're trying to find a Series X, good luck. It's just going to be a hard search, and with people bodying and reselling at high prices, it's just going to make it harder and harder for consumers that just want it for themselves.
should say it's not just the Series X.
No,
It's
Yeah.
the Series S. It's the PlayStation 5. It's the Nintendo Switch. It's these
it's
video cards that everyone
it's a PlayStation no, digital.
sad
It's
version.
not
Yeah,
even
really.
just that. So I know a guy who owns my buddy owns a game store in Ohio, of all
Mm.
places, and he can't get PS4s and Xbox Ones because those are selling out everywhere. So I don't even know if they're
They're
making them or if they're giving rid of the stock they have. But trying to get those in, he says that he gets them in the store, they're gone within a few hours because
probably, man.
if he's
Probably
getting
they're
from
just trying to get rid of stock.
well, they can't even when they get traded in, people want them so bad because they can't find the higher end consoles. But
That's exactly it.
a lot of games coming out are still for last gen and this gen, so
That's
they're
right.
like, I'm
That's
gonna just
right.
have to get what I can, and it's a
And bide
little
my time.
yes, especially Xbox. 'Cause a lot of that stuff works both, so they're just like, well, I want to play games with my friends. They're all gaming, everyone's talking about it, but I don't have a console. This is all I can do. So those are becoming harder and harder to find as well.
I keep a close eye on like video game sale charts overall, and just to
Cool.
have a pulse on the trend of like what is selling, what isn't. And one thing that's been really bizarre because we're about a year into this new generation, last gen games are still selling really really well. Which usually after about a year that does taper off. So like, and especially like last gen versions of cross gen games. So like all the sports games they're doing fine on PS4 and Xbox One. The shooters that typically come out are still doing fine on the older consoles. Like it's um those user bases, the PS4, the Xbox One, are still very active user
Mm-hmm.
bases, which is very different. And like I think that goes to what you were saying, Kevin, is that people are still buying PS4s and Xbox Ones. Like
Trying
they're
to.
still or trying to at least.
Right.
I know even the Nintendo Switch is. You could probably find a light fairly easily, but like even the current Switch, or I'm sure the OLED will be the same thing. It's like these things are not going to be easy to find. Video cards have been a mess. I've not been able to find one out there at all. Then we
Gaming's
have
just a mess. Like gaming, and then if you even go past gaming, just look at any type of hardware. I'm trying to get a new car for my wife. My lease is up on our vehicle, and we can't find anything. Some dealerships we've called and talked to, they have 6 vehicles in the lot for sale. 6. The entire lot. 6 cars. Another guy had 3. So it's like if you want either of those vehicles, there's no incentives for it. You can buy this at full price, and it's going to be insanely expensive because there's no competition whatsoever because it's all I have. So it's just the world is slowly falling apart with supply chain right now.
It's I mean, there's been like console shortages before. Like I think back to the Wii.
There
I remember
definitely been console shortages.
For 3 years, you could not find the Nintendo Wii anywhere.
It was rough.
But that was a different kind of shortage. It wasn't the actual parts that were.
Yeah, that was insane demand. Yeah.
This is something else. This is a global supply chain problem that is affecting everything. I mean, we saw when the boat crashed, got side wrecked into in the Suez Canal.
Yeah.
We saw how we're like, this will take months to get back to get that back on track, and that was one boat, which blocked entire a giant part of the global supply chain. So, I mean, I'm no expert on I'm no economics expert. I'm here to talk about old video games mostly, but it's a scary time, and if you honestly can find, my advice is if you can find a new generation console, PS5, Series X, S,
get
a Switch, get it. Don't pay scalper prices.
Don't pay scalper prices.
Like if you they have an Xbox Series S, which is the digital one.
Just get
if
it.
they have it in stock, just get it. Just get it.
As soon as I follow
if you
Slick
have a
deals.
PlayStation 5 digital, underrepresented console here.
As soon as I see on Slick Deals they post like, oh, it's in stock. If I go in there, I try to get it every time. I've never been successful, but I'm like, I'll just get it and I'll try to help somebody online buy it, or one of my friends that are looking, because you can sell it immediately even at a lot of money. But I'm not trying to make money. I just want to help people get them, because the more people that play games, the more chance of better games coming out, because it means more people are playing and there's more money to be made for good developers. So
I'll say that I know I've personally I've written a couple of articles harping on oh, I don't like that Halo Infinite are coming to the last gen consoles. With in this context, it's kind of a nice thing that even if you have an Xbox One S and that's your system, you could still play. You're not years and years behind everyone else.
Right.
Which is kind of a nice thing. So I don't want to say I take it back. I still feel good about that point, but yeah, it is a nice thing if that's your system and that's how you play. You can still play games. Might be like Cyberpunk though, where you might need a lot of patches to get it up to a good level, but
yeah.
Speaking of losing so many consoles in this new pandemic issue, what about the Switch OLED, guys? Would you guys
you wanted to talk about that?
Yes. What would you guys think with all the shortages right now? Would you rather go for a regular Switch or the new system that's coming out?
Well, I have a regular Switch. I have 2 of them, and I have a light,
Lord.
and my wife has
Oh
a
my
light,
God.
and I'm still.
You're part of the problem,
OLED.
Kevin.
You're why these prices are so high. You have 4 consoles for the same brand in the same house.
As I pull out my Switch light, I was like, "Wait,
God.
let me look at this."
You just need to add to your collection? What is this?
So my plan is I want to replace the Switch I'm using with the OLED. So because the one I'm using is the launch Switch. In my mind, I think, oh, I'll sell it, but I know when I try to sell it, I'll be like, I can't sell it because I'm gonna want this down the road. Mm-hmm. Because I've sold one console my whole life. I sold my original 3DS, and I regret doing it. I'm like, I sold it for $130. That was not worth it.
My biggest regret was trading in my PS4 for my PS5, and I lost 90% of my saves because they don't have they didn't transfer saves to the
That would kill
PS5's
me.
software at the time. So when I uploaded all my games to the cloud, because the PS5 doesn't register those PS4 games, it just will not accept them, and they don't plan on fixing that in the future. So I
They
would have
keep
to.
everything.
They keep everything. So I cried. I remember that. I think I cried to you guys. That was a rough day. That was rough. It's so rough. It hurts my heart. All my save files. Oh my god. It's my babies. But yeah, no,
That's.
I feel that.
I feel like we need to have a moment of silence for that. That would kill me. You're a
Yeah.
brave man.
That's a scary thought. I answer your questions. I think the OLED is going to. Nintendo won't say this today, but I think in a few months after it launches, will not be able to find the original Switch anymore. Like the OLED is the replacement to it. It does
Mm.
everything better, but it doesn't. Like the original Switch won't have any unique selling point after this. Like there's no like, oh, I could get the OLED, but the original does this. Like it's all better on the
Yeah.
OLED. The Lite has its own selling point. It's a light console. It's portable. It's
Cheaper.
better for cheaper too. It has a real D-pad, which kind of makes me mad. Um,
Hmm.
but um, yeah, like I think it's kind of like it reminds me when the um the DSi came out, like or the new 3DS to be a little bit more current.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
kids listening. When the new 3DS came out, the OG 3DSs were pretty much gone within a few months. It was just whatever store had stock, they got through them, and then you could only find new
Hmm.
3DS. I think it's kind of the same idea here. It's like, yeah, the new one's out. They're gonna like, Nintendo's not sending old model Switches to stores anymore.
No. Oh, I see what. Yeah. I see. No, I understand where you're going.
Uh,
So essentially, if you don't get it now, and later shortages might affect the delivery of them, better to do it now than
yeah.
sometime not get
Oh
it in
yeah.
the future.
It,
Zahi,
like
just get an OLED Switch. I'm telling you right now. Don't even think
yeah.
about getting anything else. This is
Because
gonna be. You're gonna
for the
regret it
viewers
later.
out there,
And you're
I
also
mhm,
like also like the Switch, you're getting this like 4 or 5 years in. You're
yeah,
getting us you know you're getting value. It's not like you're buying a new system. You're like, well, I hope this is a hit. Like you're buying one that already has 100 million sold. It has
that's right.
hundreds of games to play. Like it's a good get. It's a good get.
Um, so for the viewers out there, I have never owned a Nintendo console, and since the
Shocking.
end. So yeah, I have always played many Nintendo games with my friends, and I've played like a lot of first party exclusives with my friends on their consoles through, but I have never owned a N64, a Nintendo console since the N64. I recently received a very limited time bonus from my work, and I want to buy a Switch. I want to finally own a Nintendo product. So my hope, I wanted a 4K console. That's I think I thought 4K for a Switch would be the best thing, and I'm slowly realizing that the Switch is such a beast of a platform that I think 4K at 60 FPS is a gimmick for Sony and Microsoft, and I'm really liking like what the Switch right now has to offer going forward with such a great library. So I think even getting it now would be a great idea. I think I'm like, yeah, I want like a 4K
It's
new
it's
Nintendo Switch according to the rumors.
Yeah, the
But
Switch is totally different. It's got a.
it,
I feel like it's
I
on
feel
its
like it's
own.
different.
Yeah, it's totally on
Yeah,
its own. It doesn't. It's not trying to be the big daddy
it,
console. Come here, look at my beautiful. Like,
it's look at my RAM.
yeah,
I'm
just look at
starting.
my RAM.
um, I was just reading a lot of reviews and articles about like the Switch as a console, to psych myself up, and it's kind of just changed my perspective on the product as a whole, and maybe even a little bit on Nintendo as a whole. Yes, they kind of want your full money, but I it's not maybe right now meant to be this juggernaut of graphics and power housing, but it's the quality of the games that are established on it, I think, speak for the system as a whole. And I kind of want to get it for a first time purchase, and I feel like I will get my value and my money's worth.
think
Oh,
so.
you definitely
And
will. There's plenty on there, and like you were saying, is they don't have to do all these things. Well, they don't have to even prove it because sales prove it. Like it's already
Mm-hmm.
destroying. Like
don't I don't want to say this to be confrontational to
Mm.
like to the gamers out there. But no one does first party IPs like Nintendo. Like it's you like got Mario, you know what Mario is. You got Zelda, you know what Zelda is. You got you know what these are. It's always that it's like comfort food gaming, I find. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
never it's not it's very rare that it's going to be like that was a dud. It's kind of like consistency is always there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would. I mean, like I've got a lot of Nintendo. I've got every Nintendo console, and like yeah, I would love to see them. I would love to see what it would be like if Nintendo put out like a powerhouse 4K, like
Mm-hmm.
full on console. But at the same time, I'm like,
don't need
don't
it.
need it. I would
Don't
just be
need it.
curious. I'd be curious. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But like I feel like for the PS5 and the Series X, I need that. You know, for a PC, I need that.
Yeah,
I
it's
want
nice.
that.
It's nice that they can exist and you can have these big
Yeah.
powerhouse experiences, but the day to
I
day,
just
everything like here's something that I'll say is I have this crazy graphics card and all this, and you do get kind of like numb to it. Like it just becomes so normal, you don't even think about it. Like I'll have a friend come over and I'm playing like WoW, and I have my ultra wide and all this stuff. Like wow, it looks so much better. I'm like, oh yeah, it does look really good. Like you just get so used to it, and like it kind of works the same way when you're playing a bad looking game on a console. As long as it works, it's running good enough, you just get used to it. Like I can even say Elix again. I love talking about this game. Like it's a little janky
I
and
want to
stuff,
play
but all
this
of a
game,
sudden I'm
man.
so used to it. Like it doesn't even bother me that oh yeah, this is kind of a funky thing. Oh, this is a fun like we're pretty adaptable as humans that we kind of just get used to it, whatever you're doing. Unless it's completely unplayable, that's a different story. But the Switch,
Mm-hmm.
like
Or bricking your
yeah,
console
breaking
or
your
bricking
console,
your
your
PCs.
yeah GPUs. But like the first party Nintendo titles, like they all look amazing. None of them look like oh I have to just get through this because yeah, could they look better? Yeah, but they're still and even in your head, it's almost like, wow, it's a miracle that Breath of the Wild looks like this on this system. Like, how do they do this? Oh, Luigi's
Yeah.
Mansion 3 looks beautiful. How do they get this to look this way? How do
Yeah,
you?
that excites
So
me to know that. I'm good. That's good.
yeah, it's not gonna blow your. It's not it doesn't hold the candle next to Last of Us 2 or these big titles that have lots of money and powerhouse systems. But running on, I mean, like even because it's the same hardware. I take my little thing off. This little tiny Switch is playing these games, and it's the same hardware in this as the bigger one that goes to the TV. Like this little thing here, that's $200 you can get for even cheaper. Plays these big ass games. It's incredible.
It's like so much to say about the Switch, and like I could go on forever. So I don't really want to, but it's like
Yeah.
it's also it embraces nostalgia in a way. Like it's especially like with the online apps for like NES, Super Nintendo, now 64 games.
Crazy.
It's really cool to be able to be like, there's a new Metroid coming out. Hey, so why don't you play Metroid or Super Metroid? Like while you wait, you could do that. It's on there. Now they'll have you could finally play Ocarina of Time. It'll be on there at the end of the
I
month.
will finally play Ocarina of Time.
Can I convince you to stream it?
Yeah, I've never I played Ocarina of Time when with my buddy when we were like 10, 11, and I would go over to watch Ocarina of Time, but I've never really like I was always watching it and I never really played it. So I would love to stream it.
I'll be your producer for this. I'll help set it up, and it's like Zai's first Ocarina of Time playthrough. I think I want to watch this.
How many 30-year-old current gamers have never played Ocarina of Time? I think it'll be really cool, and I'm not going to be looking at it like I'm going to be like this is Ocarina of Time. This is like a masterpiece of literal gaming. To play it for the first time as an adult with that
25 years of hindsight.
That 25 years of hindsight, I feel like it's an interesting perspective. I really am excited.
We'll set that up for you.
Yes.
You just get the Switch. I'll be the producer on that.
And get the Switch OLED if you're picking.
Get the Switch OLED.
I've been listening for the podcast, guys. I've been listening to like a lot of Ocarina of Time soundtracks. As much as I love them all, Gerudo Valley I've been listening to so many
Oh,
different remixes of it, and
little classical guitar.
it's so fun. Like, yeah, I don't know why I like Gerudo Valley the most so far with the soundtrack.
That's
Like,
a really good one. Um, what's my favorite song from Ocarina of Time?
Water Temple.
Oh, the Spirit Temple's interesting. That's a good one. Like I think it's nostalgia saying it, but I want to say that like the Kokiri Forest / Lost Woods because it's the first area of the
Yeah.
and I think the nostalgia of it is too strong for me. So I'll say the Kokiri Forest Lost Woods.
Okay, I'll take that. I'm excited.
Kevin, do you have a favorite song from Ocarina of Time?
No, but I have a favorite YouTube video of Guitar Bros playing it, like a full remix that's like an hour long of it.
Killer.
I listen to that.
But yeah.
It's on my writing article playlist that I listen to.
Nice.
Oh, my writing article playlist has become so friggin' weird. I just want to like throw this out there. I've discovered lo-fi.
Oh yeah, I love lo-fi.
I love lo-fi, but it's like I'm listening to like the Nintendo lo-fi,
Yep,
and then there
that's what I
was
listen to a lot.
Halloween lo-fi, which I'm like listening to right now because it's spooky season. I'm like writing or working on the website, and I'm just like listening to just like spooky music. Like it just kind of sounds like a haunted house. It's great.
Yeah, you can't. It's almost Halloween, so we're gonna have to have our Halloween themed episode. But
I can't wait.
I listened to for the lo-fi. They have like an Animal Crossing coffee house theme one that's really nice. I listen to, and then there's so many of those. I love the like. Just getting them like music, but like video game music, like background music is really, really relaxing.
Yes. Yep. I actually wrote that in the Moonlighter review where I was like, this is a good background music soundtrack. If you take the soundtrack out of the game and just listen to it, it's super chill.
Oh. That's nice. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. We've dragged it on a little bit long, but we had some pretty good topics and conversation.
Power stayed on.
Yeah, it did. My lights flashed a few. So I ran off a few minutes ago because it sounded like something like blew up in my backyard, but it was just the rain falling off my gutters to my roof from my upper floor. It's like it was crazy.
Listen, I can see the stars.
It's a beautiful night.
It stopped. There was a tornado like probably about an hour north of me, so I saw on my other screen a tornado warning. I was like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah, man, you want to get that checked out.
That would be not the way to end the show.
It was like, well, then I sent it to my wife. I'm like, "You see this?" She goes, "That was 2 hours ago." I was like, "Oh, okay, we're good." Oh. So we're all good living here. But yeah, thanks for joining us for episode 40. Yeah. Hopefully next time we're here, I think that's the new Switch comes out when this Friday.
The 8th?
Yeah.
Friday. So next week's a really big week for Nintendo. Because it's on the 5th, it's the last Smash characters being revealed.
Ooh.
That's it?
That's it. The last one. Last Smash characters on the 5th, so I will be all about that. And I'm sure you guys, but like I'm like, this is it.
So,
this is the end of Ultimate.
So he should have a Switch OLED by next Sunday.
Yeah, comes out on Friday with Metroid Dread, which is the first new 2D Metroid since 2002 or 2001. So big week next week for that, and TGS was just, I think it's wrapping up, or it happened, or this weekend was TGS.
I think it was this past weekend.
Yeah.
Lots to talk about for next show.
Yeah, for sure. Before we leave, I'll do the YouTuber thing. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. It really helps us out. I want to start doing something new, guys. I want to start counting us down to milestones for our YouTube subscribers. So we are 21 subscribers away from 100. That would be a huge milestone. Be our first triple-digit number. So if you're listening to this, make sure to tell your friends about us. A lot of cool things happening, and we'd love to hit 100 subscribers before the end of the year, so that'd be super cool. So like and subscribe. Linkcablegaming.com is where you can find us. We post articles every day of the week. Times multiple.
Thank you, Alex.
No worries. I was like, all right, time to be a YouTuber. How do you be a YouTuber? You tell people to press buttons.
Oh my
Press those buttons.
Like and subscribe.
Like, subscribe, share.
Do the things.
Upvote, retweet. What else is there?
Yeah, that's all. All right, guys. Thanks so much. We will see you next week.
Have a good night, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.